And I was like, because no one's sucking on my leg. Because we're being serious about this. We're scientists. We're working on a compare and contrast. We're doing a Venn diagram. There is a test that needs to be done. I hope you were taking note. Oh, and now my thumbnail's even more true. Hello, YouTube. How is everyone doing? Hi, Pomp. How are you doing? This weekend was crazy busy for me. I jokingly said I went on a cryptid hunt, but I didn't. I went to a hockey game. Let me say this. I like hockey. I do not follow hockey. And unfortunately, my team lost. The New Jersey lost by like 3 goals. So like 3-0. So not fun. Not great. My girlfriend suddenly got into hockey after we watched like a couple of episodes of Heated Rivalry. So they keep jokingly calling hockey like the boy aquarium. So we went to the boy aquarium. We did get to see the goalies stretch, as Dana from Boo Productions has pointed out. That is something that we did like to do. So I was very much enjoying that, but I also enjoyed the game in general. It was a lot of fun, and we had very high seats. I'm not afraid of high places, but I am very afraid of falling, and the stairs were like very steep, and where we're sitting is very steep, and they'd be like, oh, get up, and like I guess they throw hot dogs at the game. And there's like a bunch of guys that are dressed in hot dog outfits, and they call themselves the Glizzy Gang. And they were just tossing out hot dogs. And like in my scared mind, I was like, someone's going to fall over the edge of this, or someone's going to fall down these like very high stairs trying to catch a hot dog. So like that's my intrusive thoughts. So yeah, if you have intrusive thoughts, let me know. Yeah, you can let me know if you have intrusive thoughts. But it was fun. I haven't been to a live hockey game, I guess, since like right before the pandemic. So my brother went to college in Colorado, and he, like, when he graduated, there was a game between the Colorado Avalanches and the New Jersey Devils. And so like we thought, oh, this is perfect, our home team while he's out here. So we did see that game. And you know what? They also lost that game. They've lost a lot of games that I've watched. And at some point you go, is it the team? Or is it me? I'm starting to feel like they lose because I'm there. I don't think that's fully true. Or is it? Well, that being said, so let's go over the plan for tonight. I have found this creator. He put out 3 weeks ago. His name is BuzzKill. And he put out 3 weeks ago a video titled Why Ghost Adventures Fell Off. And we know how big of a fan I am of Zachariah Baggins. I lovingly call him DJ Z-Bag because he was a wedding DJ at some point in his life. And I thought that was a lot of fun, and we should go over that. Florio actually ended up suggesting the video in her Discord as well. And so she said, that's a great video, we should watch it. So I was going and I was collecting it. I was getting set up for this stream because I like to put the links in the description so you can watch on your own at some point, either before or after. And then I saw that, what was it, 13 days ago, so just 2 weeks ago, BuzzKill also did a video called Why Ghost Hunters Fell Off. And I know on this side of the internet, we are big fans of Jason Hawes. Rightfully so. But I thought it would be interesting to watch both of these because one is someone that we're not really favoring at all. And we can see how that's criticized versus someone that we do favor and how they're criticized, and we can talk about that and compare that. Like, is it fair criticism? Because if we have to think, if it's not really fair criticism to Jason, then maybe it's not fair criticism to Zach. Or do we think it's very fair criticism to Jason and ghost hunters. So then we can also say that it's fair criticism to Ghost Adventures as well. Hey, Zombie J, good to see you. Thank you for joining. We're going to be talking about DJ Z-Bag himself, and we're going to compare and contrast a little bit.
Oh, God. What is it? Stop!
A grown man with frosted tips is standing in what used to be a hospital, yelling at the empty air like it owes him money. He demands answers. He demands respect. He demands that the ghost show itself. And when nothing happens, he gasps, clutches his chest, and announces that the room is suddenly filled with rage, hatred, and possibly a demon.
No. What, dude? Hold on. I just saw. You're shaking. No, I know. I just saw. There was a.
Who doesn't like being on basic cable. This is Ghost Adventures, a show that once promised raw, dangerous, no-holds-barred paranormal investigation.
Oh, you've heard of DJ Z-Bag. This is DJ Z-Bag. Zach Baggins is DJ Z-Bag because he was a DJ, a wedding DJ at some point in time. That's why I lovingly call him that. Little backstory on my history with Ghost Adventures. I watched Ghost Adventures religiously in high school. And by that, I mean my best friend and I would go home on the same bus. We'll pick a bus, whoever bus it was. We'd go home on the same bus, and we would meet at one of our houses. And every Friday night, I think at 7 or 8 o'clock, Ghost Adventures would come on Travel Channel. I think it was. And we would sit there and we would watch and we would cackle, laugh, because it was so ridiculous. And we would call him like the ghost douchebag. We would call him the ghost douchebag for the longest, like every single time, because he was just so ridiculous. And I remember like what broke the ridiculousness. It was like one of the first seasons too. He goes to this house and the first thing is they spend at least 5 to 10 minutes with Zach like running after a snake. And we're like, leave the snake alone, like leave it alone. What does this have to do with anything paranormal? Why are you chasing a snake? Please leave the snake alone. And then in that same episode, at one point he like props an axe up and like lays down underneath it, and he's like, "Come get me, ghost, come get me." And we're like, that is the stupidest thing ever. Even if there's not a ghost, like houses shift, and it's like the nighttime, so like there's the expansion and the constriction of wood with different heat temperatures. That wood creaks or expands, like he has an axe to the face, and he's gonna blame a ghost, and it's just physics. So yeah, we used to religiously watch it because it was so funny. And then also during the Halloween time, there would be other mini documentary like ghost shows around it. But yeah, we would watch Ghost Adventures pretty religiously because it was on all year round every Friday. So that is my history with Ghost Adventures. What is your history with Ghost Adventures? Please feel free to put it in the comments because I want to read it. I learn something new every day. I know sometimes these facts are like thrusted upon me, but I feel the need to share it with all of you. It is very important to me that everyone knows this about him.
And somehow evolved into a weekly improv exercise where the ghost is always angry, the evidence is always compelling, and the investigators are always one unexplained draft away from a spiritual breakdown. Back in the beginning, Ghost Adventure sold itself as something radically different.
Sam. Bro. Let me see it.
No psychics, no mediums, no calming background music telling you how to feel. Just 3 regular guys locked overnight in America.
They're just 3 dudes having a sleepover, having a spooky, scary sleepover. And you gotta kind of love it for them that they're doing that all together. That is truly male bonding. I never thought of it that way. And maybe I should have. Maybe I judged way too quickly. I never thought about how they didn't really have like a psychic on the team, and that would differentiate them from most haunted. That's interesting. And yeah, they're just like 3 dudes. Zach Baggins lived so many lives before Ghost Adventures. Like, he was on game shows with his sister. He was a wedding DJ. He did all these things and then finally found his get rich quick scheme. I shouldn't say quick, but like he found his like thing that to be ridiculous about. Oh, Most Haunted. You're probably right. It is probably Most Haunted. I had Most Haunted on even earlier than Ghost Adventures, but I was watching reruns as a kid, so I don't fully remember it. Halo humans, hello to you too, Boneyard. Good to see you. Did you get any Subway this week? Let me know.
America's creepiest locations, armed with cameras, EMF meters, and an almost heroic disregard for personal safety. It was framed as
Wait. Go back a second. Are those leather walls? Science needs to know.
EMF meters, and an
Are those leather walls? Like, don't these look like tuft? I don't think I like the idea of leather walls, because essentially those are skin walls, right? When you like really think about it. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Almost heroic disregard for personal safety. It was framed as dangerous, authentic, and borderline irresponsible, which, to be fair, was exactly why people loved it. But somewhere along the way, the lockdown investigations turned into theatrical seances, skepticism turned into certainty, and curiosity turned into confrontation. What began as a rough-edged experiment in paranormal TV
was this ball of light and energy that manifested into this hand that only my camera captured.
It wasn't.
Became a parody of itself, where every creak was a demon, every feeling was possession adjacent, and every episode felt like it was one cold breeze away from an HR complaint filed against the afterlife. So how did a show that once felt genuinely unsettling become a meme-generating factory of spiritual aggression?
Brax is right here. Shut up. Don't leak. Keep it still. Keep it still. I'm just documenting this right now.
And at what point did
Sacky poo, come on. That's like when you like brush against something and it just gets the top layer of skin. I've had stronger exfoliants than that ghost.
Hunting ghosts turn into bullying them for content? To understand that, we have to go back to the beginning, before the demons had catchphrases and before the investigators started treating ghosts like unpaid supporting cast members. Before Ghost Adventures became a weekly parade.
Hello, Scarborough. Good to see you. We're taking down Baggins. Actually, BuzzKill has taken down DJ Z-Bag, and you missed it. We're not only going to compare this one, or we're not only going to watch this one, we're going to watch the one that he did called The Fall of Ghost Hunters as well. Because I want to see if, like, we agree with the criticism. Because my whole thing is, like, if we agree with the criticism for Zach, but we don't agree with the criticism for Ghost Hunters, like, are we just because we're looking through a bias, or are we, like, is it actually unfair? So I just wanted to look at that and think about that. But what I was going to say is, so I did my episode about the Blue Lady Ghost, and I really wish that one had more views. I really, really do. So if you ever get a chance, please watch that one. I don't know if it didn't get pushed out that much because I have beverages in it. I will say if you click the resource link to that one, you could also have beverages like I did. But I talk about paranormal tourism. And what I want to get to from that is these ghosts are there and they're not getting paid. So is it exploitative to use ghosts for tourism? Like, is it exploitative? I think we should just think about that for a little bit. I'll have to start from the beginning later. Yeah, we were only like 2 minutes in. Don't worry about it. You're not too far. Basically, they just covered that, like, this guy did things differently, and then it got boring. Here's why.
Of spiritual ultimatums and invisible rage fits.
Who's there? Oh, I got cold.
It started in a way that almost feels illegal by today's standards. Small, scrappy, and weirdly sincere. In the mid-2000s, paranormal TV was already a crowded house. You had polite investigators asking spirits nicely to knock once for yes, twice for no, and you had soothing narrators reassuring viewers that everything was respectful scientific adjacent, and definitely not staged. Then along came a group of guys who looked like they'd just wandered out of a Hot Topic parking lot and said, what if we didn't do that?
Oh my God, I'm starting.
I disagree. They do not look like they wandered out of a Hot Topic parking lot. There is nary a band tee. Absolutely not. Don't agree. There are no studs on their belt. There are no facial piercings upon their faces. Nay, I disagree. They look like they walked out from backstage of a high school theater where they are tech theater and they move furniture and help raise the curtain and lower the curtain and work with the lights. Don't come at my culture. Don't do it. How can ghosts use currency? What are they going to use it for? I don't know. I'm not a ghost banker. No, but like the idea is also like exploiting of like a story and stuff like that. So the argument could be made that if you are running a paranormal experience and you're doing it at a historic site, that you could use that money to then pay to like maintain that historic site, which some places do. I will say that. It's not like they don't do it. Or if you're covering, like if something awful happened in your house, to say like female victims specifically, that you could put some of those proceeds towards like a battered women's shelter or something like that. If something awful happened, like a asylum, and you could give money towards like a mental health foundation. So like there are ways that you could give back and not just fully profit off of these people's stories. Holy crap, is that young Aaron? Yeah, that's young Aaron. I'm sure that poor guy aged a couple of years after his whole ex-wife situation. Oh, and getting performative where Zach was trying to choke himself at Goatman's Ridge. Look, we don't kink shame here. We do kink shame a little bit. When it's a bad kink.
Shake, man.
I know. Just don't open yourself up to them.
I'm trying, man.
Do not say you're starting to shake.
Zach, you can't, after I make a kink joke, just say don't open yourself up to them. Zachy poo, come on. Come on. I thought we rehearsed this.
Okay.
At the center of it all was Zach Bagans, who in 2004 co-created a low-budget documentary with Nick Groff and Aaron Goodwin. The original Ghost Adventures film, shot at the notoriously reputed Goldfield Hotel in Nevada, leaned hard into danger and isolation. No camera crews, no dramatic recreations, just locked doors, handheld cameras, and the constant implication that something could go horribly wrong at any moment.
What the wrong with him?
I don't know if I got 1 minute of tape left.
Nick, what's wrong with you, dude?
And for a while, that worked.
I got 1 minute tape left. That doesn't help. Nick, what's wrong with you? Broski, what's happening to you?
Really well. The rawness felt authentic, especially compared to the overly polished competition. The investigators weren't calm experts. They were visibly scared, confused, and sometimes completely out of their depth. When something unexplained happened, it felt earned, not because it was proven, but because the reactions were messy and human. That documentary eventually caught the attention of the Travel Channel, which greenlit the series in 2008. Paranormal TV was cheap.
Hey, Stevie, how are you doing? I hope you're having a great night. We're talking about DJ Z-Bag here. And then we're also going to talk about Jason Hawes. So stay if you can. I hope you're enjoying your night. But I was also going to say, I like Zach's little waddle out of the tunnel. I like the little waddle. It was fun for me.
To produce, endlessly scalable, and perfect for late night audiences craving adrenaline with their insomnia.
Analysis of the video. You can clearly see the shadow from my arm and hand here.
Okay.
When Ghost Adventures officially premiered as a series in October 2008, it was marketed as the dangerous alternative.
Oh, it's 2026. Where were all of us in October of 2008? What? Tell me how naive you were. Think about it. 2008. This is before the housing market crash. It's before COVID. It's before presidencies, certain presidencies, right at the start of other presidencies. Where were you in 08? Tell me about the good times of 08, please do. Thank you. I am enjoying my nights TV.
Alternative. The show that went further, stayed longer, and asked harder questions than anyone else on cable.
Nick, weren't you saying in Italian, come draw energy?
Yes, it hit you, Zach, and now it's hitting Aaron.
I can't even stand up.
Early seasons leaned heavily on that image. The investigations were darker, the tone more...
I was still LARPing. As what? For what? What were you LARPing as? Like D&D? WoW? League of Legends? Pokemon? I don't know. What were you medieval times? The Renaissance Fair? What were you doing? Explain it to me. I need to know now.
Confrontational, and the premise simple. Lock 3 guys inside allegedly haunted locations overnight and see what happens. If ghosts were real, the show suggested, they weren't gentle. They were angry, unpredictable, maybe even hostile.
I want a gentle ghost. Do you get to pick? Is it like a raffle? What do we do? I was an assistant manager at Sally Beauty Supply. Oh, seeking a tattoo apprenticeship in 2008. Oh my gosh. I think we have like one Sally near us to like at this time. Oh, it was medieval fantasy LARP. I played an elven priest. That's really fun. I enjoy that. What was I doing in 08? I was a babe. I think I just entered high school. I was LARPing, but not LARPing. I hung out with a bunch of guys in high school, and they were into like airsoft pew-pews. So I played airsoft pew-pews, but I stopped playing once the plastic bullets were giving people welts, and I was like, that's not fun. I just want to hang out. So I would let them like go play, and then I would ask them to text me when they were done, and then I'd come over and have like shitty pizza with them. That was my LARPing. It's also funny because like, so like in fairness, my mom heard that like I'm gonna go out as like one of like, I think there was maybe another girl, like one other girl, like and someone's girlfriend. We were going to go out into the woods with a bunch of boys who were like 2 years older than me. And I came back at least one time with a bruise on my neck. So of course my mother is going to think that like something's happening in these woods. And I had to explain to her that it was not a hickey. Someone had just gotten me right in the neck with the plastic bullets. And she's like, how do I know that's true? And I like picked up my pant leg to show like the barrage that I had on my leg of like 10 different like same size, same shape bruises. And I was like, cause no one's sucking on my leg. I was a delight as a teenager. I swear to God. Hi, Mr. Prism. I'm so glad you came in on that story. What were you doing in 08, Mr. Prism? That's what we're all talking about right now. I'm going to get back to the video before I embarrass myself further.
Ghost Adventures didn't just want to observe the paranormal, it wanted to provoke it.
No, I can't.
We just received our highest EMF spike ever recorded on this device.
And at first, that provocation felt bold rather than desperate. The show expanded quickly, spawning specials and spin-offs as its popularity grew, and Zach Bagans became one of the most recognizable faces in modern paranormal television. He wasn't whispering respectfully into the void. He was staring it down and daring it to blink. The problem was that this entire premise depended on escalation.
I don't even remember that much. I remember screaming, but I don't remember knowing what I was saying.
And escalation, by definition,
I'm just going to say, I understand that he's doing this for TV. Ladies. May I call you ladies? If a man ever says that to you, dump him and run. If a man's like, I don't remember what I said, I just remember screaming, dump him and run. That is ladies' fright advice. It is free. I hope you enjoy it.
Never knows when to stop. The problem with building a show on escalation is that eventually you run out of places to go that don't involve yelling at drywall like it personally betrayed you. For Ghost Adventures, the first cracks didn't appear as one big scandal or catastrophic failure. They showed up quietly, episode by episode, as the tone shifted from investigation to accusation, from curiosity to confrontation, and from did something just happen to
People come here to die. Do you think the trend is going to keep going, or it just stops because we're here?
something is always happening, and it is very mad. Early on, the show still maintained a thin veneer of uncertainty. EVPs were debated. Shadow figures were questioned. Feelings
Scarborough, and escalation when they suddenly did 2 seasons a year after season 3 or so, even though it was less overall episodes. Yeah, I mean, that's also just kind of how cable TV works as well. I can't blame them fully for the output that's going out. I'm sure they had part in it, but I'm not sure if they had full control of that, so I can't be like, boo boo you. Like, there are other people with money who have to make decisions like that with them. So I'm not going to fully fault him there. Wait, I miss what was said. At least Zach was like on the ground and he was like, I don't remember what I said. Like, I just remember yelling. So, and that's what I was commenting about. So, sorry, I'm lurking as I got to do this intake questionnaire form thingy for my eldest OT and pediatrician. Oh, have fun. Be safe. Put the right birth date down. My my brother, myself, and my father are all born in June, and there were several times where my mom put a different birth date down than my own, and it was very confusing. Hi, Laura. How are you doing tonight? For right now, we're talking about the fall of Ghost Adventurers, and then we're going to go into a video by the same creator talking about the fall of Ghost Hunters, and we're going to compare and contrast the criticism.
were framed as reactions rather than evidence. But as seasons piled up, ambiguity became a liability. Paranormal television doesn't reward doubt, it rewards confidence.
The exorcist we've worked with before had given us some holy anointing oil to use in an emergency situation just like this.
And confidence slowly turned into certainty. Every location wasn't just haunted anymore, it was one of the most dangerous locations we've ever investigated. A phrase repeated so often it might as well have been trademarked. This is where Zach Bagans began to change on camera. Not gradually, not subtly, but dramatically. He stopped being the guy asking questions and became the guy delivering ultimatums. Spirits weren't asked to make contact, they were challenged, provoked, accused. If something felt off, it wasn't fear anymore, it was oppression, infestation, or full-blown demonic influence. The language escalated fast, and once demons enter the chat, there's no going back to maybe it was just a draft. Viewers noticed. Longtime fans started joking that Zach was angrier at ghosts than most people are at their landlords. Memes.
Sorry, I agree with their ghosts than their landlords. Yeah. I think I fell off at this time because I just remember him being ridiculous. I don't remember him being like super angry. We did think it was. I've always thought it was weird how he would challenge the ghost the way that he did, just because I was like, I don't know, a live person probably wouldn't give you reactions. It feels very violently masculine, if that makes sense. Like, that's not it feels something a guy in a bar would say to another guy to bait a fight, and I wouldn't hang out with either of those guys, either the guy who's baiting or the guy who got baited into a fight. I just don't want to be part of it. And that was the energy that Zach gave, and I didn't understand, like, why. It's very threatening, and I don't like it. And some people had to have liked it, but I just don't know who it was for. What fans were like, yeah, I like that he just yells a lot. And you know what? I hope for their mental health that they're okay, because I don't like that he yells a lot. I don't have to put a birth date down, thank God, but I do have a problem with the July and August. Yeah, I get that. Hey, Rosside. That's because he is fake. Yeah. No, he is very fake. He is super fake, and multiple people have shown that. I like, this is like not my paranormal thing, but I like this creator called Danny Gonzalez. And Danny Gonzalez has done ghost hunting. I think actually Zach and Kobe brought him up recently or like talked about it. But he has done ghost hunting, and he went to, I believe, the Stanley Hotel. And the people at the Stanley Hotel were like, yeah, this is the mattress that Zach Baggett used. And he's like, why is it down in storage? They're like, I don't know. He just like set it up. And like basically the Stanley Hotel people are like, yeah, he faked that scene. Did like Danny Gonzalez. I think we should watch Danny Gonzalez do ghost hunting. I love people who don't do ghost hunting doing ghost hunting. I just think it's funny. So he challenged the ghost until he got hurt by the ghost. Well, you know what? That's how it goes. That's how a lot of them go. You know, they keep fighting in the bars until someday a bigger punch comes along, and then, you know what? Suddenly they're scared. They're scared to fight in the bars. I hate how he treats people. I noticed that once I got older watching him, and then when Nick Groff came out, and I was like, yep, I was correct, and lost all respect for his accents. Yeah, no, he does not treat people very nicely, especially people he sees as competition. He also does not treat people nicely if he's dating them. And there might be more about that coming out. If you don't know, he cheated on Holly Madison, and she says that she has some information about him. And maybe one day we'll discuss that, but we're not going to do that right here, right now. That's how it goes. Yeah, that is how it goes. You're right. How silly of me to not think of that right away. I'll see myself out. No, please stay. Actually, if you want to come up and do this and I will just sit down, I'll accept that. That is my fate in life.
Circulated about him threatening spirits like they were interns who missed a deadline. What once felt intense now felt theatrical, and worse, predictable. You could almost set a timer for when someone would announce they felt sudden rage, dizziness, or an unexplained urge to leave the room immediately.
Have something to do with Carl Lawson's possession?
We all have to leave!
Then came the internal fractures. Nick Groff, one of the original co-creators, slowly faded out of the series before officially leaving. The explanations were vague, diplomatic, and deeply unsatisfying. Creative differences, different directions. The kind of phrasing that translates loosely to, we are absolutely not saying what actually happened. Fans speculated endlessly, forums filled with theories, and the show quietly carried on as if losing a founding member was just a minor paranormal fluctuation. With Nick gone, the balance shifted further. Skepticism thinned. Pushback disappeared. Aaron Goodwin increasingly played the role of emotional barometer, reacting in visible fear.
I know he just like looked it up for this, but that's so... It feels really bad that it's all the stuff about Aaron Goodwin and his ex-wife's like murder for hire plot. When like you're just trying to like talk about the guy. I feel like he didn't have to take the first page. He could have just found a picture of Aaron Goodwin. Or like gone to the Wikipedia or something. This feels bad. And like he's not addressing it, so it feels even weirder.
While Zach drove the narrative forward with unwavering certainty. The dynamic became less about investigation and more about validation.
Could this threat have been directed towards Nick because he's the only one of us that's married?
If Zach felt something, the episode...
I don't know what the context of that was, but it feels like Zach's a little jealous. Because he's the only one that's married, and he will not go out with me on Friday nights anymore because he would like to stay inside with his wife. Why has she replaced me, Nick?
Treated it as fact. Critics began...
Because I'll have you remember. This started out as boys hanging out. Little boy hangout, don't forget.
And pointing out a deeper issue. Ghost Adventures wasn't just presenting paranormal experiences, it was narrativizing them in real time. Every feeling had a cause, every reaction had an entity attached, and those entities were almost always hostile. This mattered because the show frequently filmed in places tied to real trauma, prisons, hospitals, sites of violence. What once felt like spooky exploration now felt uncomfortably close to exploitation, especially when emotional responses were framed as spiritual attacks rather than human reactions to disturbing environments. As social media grew, so did the backlash. Clips circulated on YouTube and TikTok, not to showcase evidence.
Hey, Chris, good to see you. Please be safe while driving. Please.
But to mock it. Reaction videos dissected episodes frame by frame, pointing out dramatic editing, reused sound effects, and moments where compelling evidence looks suspiciously like someone bumping a camera. What used to be water cooler conversation turned into debunk compilations with millions of views.
Guys, permission to
Guys, did we just get called out? Did we just get called out? Oopsie. I think we got called out. Hey, Stu, how are you doing? I'm so sorry that you just got the notification now. I will contact YouTube. No, I won't. I don't have a way to do that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I don't know. YouTube has been odd recently. I've noticed like some of my chat stuff hasn't been working. And now I'm like afraid that I'm spamming people, but like I'll write something in like someone's live chat. And typically the way that I do it is I have my phone that I message on, and then I have the live on my television so I can see that like I've done it, and I haven't seen mine, so I've had to like back out and back in a couple of times. And now I'm like terrified that I'm spamming chats and stuff like that. In the show, Nick left because he promised his wife at the time he'd never go back to Bobby Mackey's, and he needed a break with, I think, a new kid. Then in the show, he never came back. Wow. I love a coherent through line. I'm just gonna say that. I like it. I don't know. Make it a little spicy. Don't say creative differences. Yeah. Make it like, I got an attachment. And the attachment's my wife. And now we live together and we love each other. And I don't want to yell in dark rooms with my buddies. I want to sit and have a home cooked meal with my wife.
perform an exorcism.
That's fine. You have my permission.
Totally have my permission.
Oh my gosh, Zombie, thank you so much. I forgot myself. Please, please, please don't forget to pay rent. What is rent here? Oh, that's the other. Oh no. Don't tell Zach that I make people pay rent because he yells at the ghosts more than people yell at their landlords. But anyway, here at Ladies Fright, I'm asking you to pay rent because I'm your landlord. And by your landlord, I mean this video. And the way you pay rent is you hit that like button. Or when this goes up later, you can comment, you can share this, or if you haven't already, you can subscribe to Ladies Fright. And that counts as your rent and also helps you pay the next month's rent as well. So please, please, please do not forget to pay rent. It's real easy to do. And, you know, you get perks and benefits of knowing you did the right thing. That's the perks and benefits you get. Oop. Oh, I watched all these shows at the time. Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, Most Haunted. Good on you. I watched Most Haunted, but like as reruns as a child. And then I watched Ghost Adventures mostly in high school. And then Ghost Hunters was... So we had satellite TV. And I think it was like one of those things where like if there was a trial happening that I could watch Ghost Hunters. Sometimes they like let you watch channels for like a week to see if you like buy them. And because I don't remember watching a lot of Ghost Hunters, and I liked Ghost Hunters more than I liked Ghost Adventurers, but like I remember not being able to see it as often as Ghost Adventurers.
And yet the show didn't pull back. It doubled down. More demons, more possessions, more declarations that something dark had followed the crew home. At one point, Ghost Adventures stopped feeling like a paranormal investigation series and started resembling an ongoing supernatural soap opera where the main antagonist was an unseen force with a personal vendetta against Zach Bagans specifically. Every location...
I like the idea of like... So, okay. There's certain like cartoon shows, for example, like Adventure Time. And they are just like one episode, one plot, move on. You don't need to know the rest now. And then later, when there was more of a budget and more of a promise, it became serialized. I think maybe that's what happened with Ghost Adventure, where now they're like, we need this entity to follow us around. And it also kind of reminds me of like when little kids are playing and the one little kid's like, no, I want to be more important. So like, I have the demon attachment. Nobody else has the demon attachment. I have the demon attachment. And everyone's like, okay, Zach, you can have the demon attachment this week. And he's like, no, all the time. And you're like, okay, Zach, you have the demon attachment. Sorry to bother you. I just thought we could share the demon attachment. We'd all play the princess for once, but I guess not. Oh, and Paranormal State, that started with a demon that was following Ryan Buell. Yes. I remember only a few episodes of Paranormal State. And I think I stopped watching it because they were in New Jersey and they went to a house filled with dolls. And I hate dolls. And I live in New Jersey. And they were not saying the town it was in. And I was like, well, I don't want to live in constant fear of accidentally stumbling into this dollhouse. Not to be confused with a dollhouse. This was a house filled with dolls. So I think that's why I stopped watching Paranormal State. I also watched, I would come home from school. Was it middle school or high school? I'd come home from school. And there's one channel that had like My Ghost Story or like My Haunted House, something like that. And like without fail, the dad would become a jerk and it would be the demon's fault or like the ghost's fault that the dad's a jerk. And like they'd be like so scared for their lives and like they had to get out of the house. And like it was always like they bought this house and they couldn't move because all their money was put into it. And now I'm thinking, like as I'm older, I was like, was it a ghost or did you have like substance issues in your home? And that's how your parents hid it from you. How were the police not called more often? And if this show was real, like if these stories were real and these accounts were happening, there should be more medical documentation on possession at this point, because there were so many episodes where they would be possessed and then they move out of the house or like the priest would come and the father would suddenly be a good dad again and like nothing happened. And I was like, that there has to be more to this. I do not believe you. Stu says, I never watched Ghost Adventures. Saw a clip of Baggins and thought, yeah, no. I mean, good for you. I'm sorry to ruin your purity with this. Exactly what I was reminded of, Doug. Yes, with the Ryan Buell. I love dolls. Well, you can have mine, Zombie J. I don't want dolls. Sorry, was slaying a real tough dragon. You know what? That's fine. Were you doing that in 2008, Mr. Prism? Because that was a question I had. Or are you doing that currently? I know a bunch of men who like playing with dolls. Ew. I don't like that. Don't tell me that ever again. That revered wolf VIP guy who pissed Beardo off with his Leviathan BS claims he is from Paranormal State Show. That's really good for him. I'm glad he has dreams and wishes. I don't need to hear his dreams and wishes. One of those things that instantly becomes awkward when guys say it. That's fair. Do maybe when they react before their last season. Recast, not react. Dyslexia, you got me again. My boyfriend hates dolls. Good. I think everyone should. Dolls freak me out. The missus and I only watch Ghost Adventures. Why? How is that experience? I don't know if I would be okay with so much yelling while chewing on grass. I don't know. Actually, so I have partaken in the marijuana. And we had friends who used to do it. And we were at like this like group, not group hangout. We were at a birthday party and it was like we rented a cabin. And the guys would just disappear for a little bit and they'd like come back and we'd be like, what were you doing? And they were like, oh, we were stargazing. And like that was code for they were smoking. But they had, because it was like an Airbnb and they have the cameras on the outside. They had to find a place that wasn't near the cameras. They're like, yeah, we're out stargazing. So like our code now for like getting high was stargazing. We're like, oh yeah, we're going to go stargazing. So if you ever hear me use that, that's what that means. If it helps, when I was a baby, I looked like a real life porcelain doll. It doesn't help. Why would you think that would help me? In what world would that make me feel better? Not taking some steps back a bit, done with the drama, etc. Yeah. I mean, to an extent, my boys play with my daughter babies and have no problem. Yeah, toys don't have a gender that has to play with them. I don't believe in that at all. I think no one should play with dolls, no matter. That's not true. I just don't like them. They just weird me out. I don't like them a lot. Man who plays with dolls is a reference to Nesper. That is fair. That is one specific doll. Or I guess several. But one that we're thinking of. It was hilarious seeing Aaron get scared of his own shadow. Made me almost fall off the couch. That's also fair. We call doing the grass grabbing a grilled cheese sandwich. Okay, so Mr. Prism is grabbing a grilled cheese. I'm stargazing. We're having a great time tonight. I'm not stargazing currently.
Rising tension, sudden rage,
no stargazing
emergency
here.
exit, dramatic recap. Even the fear began to feel rehearsed. Not because the cast was necessarily faking it.
Oh my God. And how I would love to see the actual runtime of these shows. How much of it was taken up by showing the same damn clip 5 times or the same like EVP 5 times. How much of that? And mind you, I grew up as an anime fan who loved Inuyasha. And Inuyasha was famous for like 10-minute long recaps of the previous episode that was probably 20 minutes long after the other 10-minute long recap. I've sat through a long recap. I get it. Recap, not a recap, maybe. Recap. I get it. But yeah, I just want to see like the editing process and how much time is actually taken up by replaying stuff. I meant to say Barbie, stupid autocorrect, but Barbies are okay. Barbies a little bit. I don't bring sexism into kids' toys. Yeah, toys are toys. Actually, there is an Adam's Ruins Everything episode talking about the divide in gender of the toy aisle that started in the 80s because, like, I think Hasbro wanted to sell more toys, and they're like, oh, the way that we can do that is if we gender the toys. So up, like, until, like, the early 80s, toys were not gendered the way that they are today. Yeah, I hope everyone's safe during I know there's tornadoes happening in our American Midwest, and I know Dust Productions is in a very scary spot, so send love and prayers and manifestations and just well wishes to Dust for at least tonight. So I've been trying to text him and see what he's at, so we'll see.
Experiences.
I love Adam's Ruins as well.
Who's here with us right now?
But because the show had trained itself into a corner where escalation was the only acceptable outcome. By the time headlines shifted from Ghost Adventures captures shocking evidence to is Ghost Adventures going too far, the damage was already done. The show was still airing, still producing content, but its cultural credibility had eroded. It wasn't must-watch television anymore. It was ironic viewing, comfort trash, background noise for people who once believed and now watched out of habit, or for the unintentional comedy. Ghost Adventures didn't collapse because it was exposed as fake. It collapsed because it became loud where it used to be, curious, certain where it used to be unsure, and hostile where it once felt genuinely afraid. In trying to prove the paranormal was real every single week, it accidentally proved something else entirely. That mystery doesn't survive constant explanation, and fear doesn't survive repetition. The reason Ghost Adventures feels so hollow today isn't because people suddenly became smarter, more skeptical, or allergic to paranormal TV. It's because the show quietly abandoned the one thing that made it work in the first place.
Bro,
What's the matter?
I'm chilling. Oh my God, hold it, bro.
Hold your ground.
The possibility that nothing might happen. Early Ghost Adventures understood, even if accidentally,
That's so interesting because as a group, we talk about how so many people will go through their career as a ghost hunter, ghost investigator, whatever you'd like to call yourself, and will get nothing. And we've always been told the narrative that the reason Ghost Adventures is so ridiculous is because they need something to happen to keep people entertained, and that's why things are like set up the way that they are. Is it failing because of the idea that nothing could happen? Because that's literally the opposite of what we've all thought about and like discussed, would I watch it if I thought nothing was going to happen? It's so hard to say, especially with Ghost Adventures, because I remember essentially hate watching it from the beginning. So I don't know if I would have watched it if I didn't think anything was going to happen. But at the same time, as I mentioned before, I liked Ghost Hunters better because if something did happen, there was a feeling like there was a stop and a discussion and a figuring out. And I've always been about like the figuring out portion of it. What do you guys think? Do you think you would have been more likely to watch Ghost Adventures if there was a risk that absolutely nothing would happen?
That tension comes from uncertainty.
Let me know.
You lock yourself in a building overnight, not because something definitely will happen, but because something might. That might is where the fear lives. Modern Ghost Adventures doesn't allow for might. Every episode arrives preloaded with conclusions. The location isn't potentially haunted, it's dangerously infested. The spirits aren't unknown, they're hostile. And the emotional reactions of the crew aren't responses, they're symptoms. The show stopped documenting experiences and started diagnosing them, often in real time, without pause, reflection, or the slightest hint of self-doubt. This creates a closed loop where the narrative can never be challenged. If Zach feels angry, it's a demon. If Aaron feels scared, it's an attachment. If someone questions it, that skepticism itself becomes part of the haunting. The system is airtight.
Maybe if we had been able to hear those threats with our own ears, we would.
Not because it's logical, but because it refuses to admit alternative explanations. Anxiety, suggestion, exhaustion, and the psychological weight of being in dark, emotionally loaded spaces are never allowed to exist on their own. Everything must be paranormal, or the episode collapses. And structurally, the show is trapped. Paranormal TV thrives on novelty, but Ghost Adventures has been running long enough that novelty is impossible without escalation. You can't keep promising the most dangerous investigation ever for over a decade without eventually sounding like satire. The demons get bigger, the stakes get higher, and the claims get wilder, not because the evidence demands it, but because the format does. Social media only magnified this problem. Clips don't circulate because they're convincing. They circulate because they're absurd.
Whoa, it said Bishop. Yep, that was good.
A single out-of-context moment of Zach threatening an unseen...
Just to go over what has been said. I think Zach took inspiration from Carl Beatty, and if nothing happens, just pretend to be obsessed, affected by the location. Okay. If I remember right, when Nick was there for a bit, it was going SBX. I don't know what that means. Sorry. Sorry, but when Nick was still there, him and Zach went back and forth on being possessed. That's fun. Share a little possession with your buddy. I split a cupcake with a friend today, but maybe I should split a possession. I don't know. Does it cost less money to split a possession? Science needs to know. Yeah, I don't mind if nothing happens as long as they have enough B-roll about the history of people, city, and location. But how accurate is that information is the problem. Or are you just saying in general? I think in general that'd be fine. Because, yeah, I mean, I can't say much. My whole thing is about the ghost story. I like the story behind it. I don't necessarily care for the proving or the finding. I just want to hear the story and analyze the story behind it. Man, this dude is going through the throat, and I'm here for it. Yeah, Boneyard's rating heavy right now. If I'm not around in any social platforms, it means Dorothy picked me up and put on a date to Munchkinland. Oh no, Boneyard, I didn't know you're in that too. I hope you're safe. Please be safe. If you get that warning, please go to shelter. Usually you share an STI with your buddy. I've never done that, and I will not do that now. Oh, yes, do. I actually love the 3D animated map of the location. Yeah, be safe, Boneyard. I agree. Too many visuals for driving. I'll watch later. Have fun, guys. Okay, sorry, Chris. Have fun. Be safe, please. In general, mind you, I only watched it on the brink of a green out. Facts be damned
now
at that
lives
point. That's
forever
true.
as a meme,
You're just like,
stripped of
wow,
atmosphere and presented
that's
as comedy.
insane.
The show isn't competing with other paranormal series anymore. It's competing with its own highlights reel, edited by people who don't believe a word of it. There's also an ethical fatigue setting in. When every tragic location is framed as a battlefield between demons and television personalities, it starts to feel less like exploration and more like spectacle. Real suffering becomes set dressing. History becomes content. And viewers, even the ones who still enjoy the show, can sense that something is off. The fear feels performative. The danger feels exaggerated. The sincerity that once carried the series is gone, replaced by a machine that must keep feeding itself bigger reactions to justify its existence. Ghost Adventures isn't bad now because ghosts stopped cooperating.
I killed.
This is easily one of the most impactful statements.
I like the idea that ghosts stopped cooperating. Do you think the ghosts unionized? Do you think they're doing a walkout? I mean, I'm all for a good union, so get it, ghost. I stand with this ghost on strike. I appreciate them. I genuinely can't imagine how scary a tornado is. Wishing people the best and hope the damage isn't too bad. Same. We don't usually get them where I'm at, but we've had a couple of like warnings. I think we've had a couple of touchdowns in the past couple of years, and like it's very freaky. The last one we were like I was in an apartment and I was trying to convince the dog to come into the bathroom with me because it was the only place that we didn't have any windows. So yeah, be safe. Oh, and always when Nick was there, he was the editor. So when he was removed, that's a bit of why it felt different. That's fair. I did not know that, but that's fair. This form thing is setting my skin picking. So, oh no. If you need to take a little break, take a little break. Set a timer. Do like 3 to 5 minutes, take a little break, walk around, get some water, take a stretch. It's not, I know like you have to get it done, but if you just like keep pushing through, it's going to feel worse. So there's this idea, I forget what the time is, but it's like you do like for example, like you do 15 minutes of work and then 5 minutes of break, 15 minutes of work, 5 minutes of break. And like, it helps with fatigue a little bit. So maybe try something like that. See if like making yourself a timer helps. Cause then also you know how long you have to work for.
We have like ever documented.
It's
some
bad
relief
because
in
it
sight.
no longer trusts the audience
Just a
to sit
suggestion.
with uncertainty. It insists on explaining everything, proving everything, feeling everything at maximum intensity every single time. And in doing so, it drains the paranormal of the very thing that made it compelling. The uncomfortable silence where you're not sure if you just saw something or if your brain is playing tricks on you. When a show about the unknown becomes absolutely certain, there's nowhere left to go. And that's the real haunting Ghost Adventures can't seem to escape. Ghost Adventures almost worked because it once understood that fear lives in uncertainty. Early on, it didn't need to prove anything. It just locked the doors, turned off the lights, and let silence do the heavy lifting. You weren't watching for answers. You were watching because you didn't know what might happen. Over time, that restraint disappeared. Mystery was replaced by certainty, curiosity by confrontation, and atmosphere by nonstop escalation. Every ghost became a demon. Every emotion became possession adjacent, and every location turned into the most dangerous place we've ever investigated. Not because the evidence demanded it, but because the format did.
These exposed studs, you can see a dark, unexplained mask moving intelligently in the background.
What died wasn't belief in the paranormal. It was trust. Trust that the audience could handle ambiguity. Trust that nothing happening could still be interesting. Once a show about the unknown becomes absolutely sure of itself, it stops being scary and starts being loud. Ghost Adventures didn't fail because ghosts aren't real. It failed because it refused to let them stay mysterious. Like, subscribe and tell us which reality show should be put out of its misery next.
There was also one done about the Dead Files, but that was literally done like today or like yesterday. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. I want to give videos time to be seen on their own. So that was BuzzKill's Why Ghost Adventure, or The Fall of Ghost Adventurers. Let's stop sharing for a second. You're going to see my beautiful face for a bit. So, okay, how do we feel about that? Because I don't know if I fully agree. Like, I agree a little bit, and I see where they're coming from. Like, there's a lack of mystery. And, you know, I agree with if you start at the highest, there's not much else you can go. What's like under promise, over deliver kind of a deal. So like if you over promise and you're a TV show, you got to keep not only over promising, but over delivering as well. And I think that's kind of where that falls. But also I think there's not enough focus on like ego. I think probably a lot of the infighting caused fans to have a different feeling about Zach, and that helped like with the fall off. 2, I agree with Scarborough with the idea that like if you do so many seasons, like you have so much content, I'm not gonna be interested too much. You also gotta give me a little something. Like that's then that's the third thing is the rise of subscription and the rise of being able to binge watch. I think might have done Ghost Adventures in, because it's different if like every Friday night I sit down and I watch, and maybe I don't fully remember what happened the episode before. Actually, they would do it that they played the last Friday's episode and then the new episode like that the same Friday, but it'd be after. So like maybe I don't fully remember what happened, but it's different when I'm sitting there and I can now watch everything back to back to back, and I can compare everything and I can go, wow, a lot and nothing happened at the same time. So like it's that promise and that delivery. I should do a post or a podcast about these old shows since I watch them in live. You should. I would be interested in watching that. I would watch that. I put some toast on and munching on some lollies and playing Pokemon Go for 5 minutes, so hopefully that helps. I hope that helps too. I feel like it cherry picked a little. It did, but I understand because this video is not made for us. This video is made for a broader niche of people who like reality television, not necessarily paranormal reality television. I get it and I don't get it at the same time. I feel like more could have been added and there's a lot more nuance being missed. But once again, I have to remember this is not made for me. It is made for people who are just into reality TV and maybe like they saw Ghost Adventures but like they fell off or they just didn't like it they didn't like it religiously. It wasn't inspiration to them by any means. I also remembered I found 2 rocks on my walk home this morning. That's fun. Are they pretty? I think Ghost Hunters had the right idea of having 2 cases per episode. So if nothing happened in one or they debunked one, it didn't matter. Oh, Stu, we're going to go over Ghost Hunters next. Let's see if that's brought up. In summary, I feel like he said that Ghost Adventurers failed or is failing because it kept not meeting expectations. It kept raising expectations and then not meeting the expectations. And eventually it just got boring because, if you go on a roller coaster 32 times, eventually there's no thrill in it anymore. You're just on a ride. And, maybe the first couple of times it's like fun, it's thrilling, it gives you like those gives you that feeling of butterflies, but like after a while it's no different than driving in a car. Like it's not exhilarating anymore. So I think that's where that kind of comes in. Sorry, I had to look behind me because I forgot if there was 1 dog or 2 dogs or no dogs in here. There is 1 dog in here. Fun fact. I don't know. That was a weird moment of me going, oh my God, am I alone? What's happening? There's like 32 seasons. This is probably why I said 32 times on a roller coaster because I saw this comment. There's like 32 seasons of Ghost Adventurers since they started the half seasons. So, okay, let's go to the next video. Okay, so now we're going to compare what is said about Ghost Hunters, which I know in this crowd, we all love Jason Hawes. And if we don't love him, we certainly tolerate him more than we tolerate other Ghost Hunters who were on national television. And I think it's important that if we're going to look at the criticism of one person that most of us don't like, we should look at the criticism of someone we do like from someone outside the niche and then decide if we are fairly criticizing or if we're letting our bias blind us to criticism. I didn't get an alert. Sorry for the late arrival. Howdy, folks. Hi, Sage Rat. Stu didn't get the alert till later either. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. Maybe we're fighting? She hasn't called me in a bit, so I don't know what's happening. But Sage Rat, just so you know, we just watched this creator BuzzKill's episode called The Fall, or like what made Ghost Adventures fall off or fell off. And now we're going to compare it to his other video, which is why Ghost Hunters fell off. So we're going to do a comparison and contrast. Everyone, I hope you have written your Venn diagrams right now. So you can make your one big circle, and we're going to write Ghost Adventures on the top of that one, and we're going to make another big circle interlocking with the other one that we just did, and we're going to write Ghost Hunters. And we have our list here that we said for Ghost Adventures, for example, we said, actually, maybe I should go into teacher mode. You guys are not ready for this. You're not ready. Okay, class. Let's see. Okay, class. We're going to make our one big circle here. And because I'm lazy, I'm going to copy it. And we're going to paste a second circle. Oh, is it not going to work? Okay, just kidding. We're going to make another big circle. And we're going to interlock them. Boop. Like that. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Okay. And then up here, we're going to have Ghost Adventurers. Not Geese Adventurers. Ghost Adventurers. Ghost Adventurers. And then, oh, that's so small. That's okay. We're going to have Ghost Hunters. Okay. And we're going to talk about why they fell off and if things were the same for the criticism. So actually, let's talk about this in the form of criticism. What do we think was fair criticism for Ghost Adventurers? Can you please let me know in the chat? What do you think was fair criticism of Ghost Adventurers? And then let's do that first. I love a Venn diagram. Thank you, Stu. Thank you. We're going into teaching right now. Let's see if I can. Oh, no, I can't make that bigger. Oh, no. Just kidding. We'll do that. Is that too big now? That's a little too big. Okay. Well, that's what you're getting. You're getting that size. Okay. I'm really curious what they'll say about Ghost Hunters. I don't usually have an issue with them, but they did the flashlight trick, so they're not without questionable methods. See? See? Yay, finally caught you live. Hello, Maria Haunted. Hellcat. Sorry, Maria. I'm dyslexic, and I couldn't tell if that was one L or two L's for a little bit. Hello, Maria. It's nice to see you. Mariah? Mariah, not Maria. Mariah, nice to see you. Love a Venn diagram. I know. Well, I just turned alerts off. We'll see next time if that's fixed or off and on. Thank you. The fake as much as fart stinks. Okay, so let's see. We have, for fair criticism, we're going to say fake. He did say they were fake. And then we're going to say, actually, hold on. Let's do it this way. Fake. Overreacting. He did say that. I'm also going to say that it was probably fair to say that expectations were too high. I think that's fair. Hello, Giselle. Good to see you. Okay. Is there anything else that we felt was fair? I'm going to give you all 2 minutes to give me I agree, overacting. Misuse of equipment. Yes. Misuse of equipment. That was fair. Stu says he has no basis of comparison. Well, that's going to be real bad when we have the test after this. Just kidding. There's no test. Okay. 1 more minute. Did they mention the use of crazy shit mediums? Actually, he said that they were different because they didn't use mediums. So we could put, and that, for the most part, I think that's true. I don't remember a lot of mediums on Ghost Adventurers, so did not use mediums. Just pay rent, Stu, and you'll be okay. Thank you, Sage Rat. Yes, everyone pay rent. That means liking the stream. Yeah, the mediums and psychics. I don't think they had many on Ghost Adventures. I can't remember too many. They had, like, clergy members a lot of the times, or, like, the owners would say they had experiences, or staff would say they had experiences. I don't remember too many mediums coming in. Okay, that being said, we're going to stop sharing that right now, and we're going to go look at Ghost Hunters now. And we're going to see what we come up with for that. I'm going to share my screen. You're going to be so impressed with my technical skills about how to share a screen. There we go. Only psychic I like is Kim Russo. I don't know who that is. I don't know any psychics. Here we go, guys.
It's 3:17 a.m. in an abandoned prison. The night vision camera is glowing that familiar radioactive green.
These things right here, these tombs, they talk.
That's the wrong guy. We just watched about that guy. We're not done with DJ Z-Bag. I want Jason Hawes. I know they have them on their house visits, not sure on actual locations. Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And they're telling us that this place had a lot of death, a lot of darkness.
A grown man whispers, "Did you hear that?" Even though the only audible sound is his own breathing and what might be a raccoon aggressively minding its business. He freezes. The EMF meter
Chat, tell me if you've ever aggressively minded your own business. Tell me in the chat. It's very important that I know if you have ever aggressively minded your own business. Ghost Hunters super occasionally had mediums. There was one they caught weird stuff with the thermal camera when the guy tried to read Jason. Oh, Ghost Hunters. Did I say Ghost Hunters? Odd, but who knows if the thermal was used right? Probably wasn't. Probably wasn't. And I would not be surprised if Jason was the reason, because I'm sure Jason knows how to use a thermal camera. Nice wine. Thank you. I've practiced my whole life. That was Edinburgh. I do like Edinburgh.
flickers. Someone says, "Bro, cut to commercial." For a glorious moment in the mid-2000s, this was peak television. This was culture.
Oh, yeah.
This was what happened when plumbers with camcorders became America's frontline defense against Victorian-era spirits with unfinished business.
I'm always ready to get to a family and help them out.
I got a 2-year-old. I'm terrified to leave him in his own room now.
I noticed scratches on his back.
Ghost Hunters wasn't just a show. It was an event. It was Halloween, but every week. It was your cousin's conspiracy theory, but with better lighting. Back then, it felt real, or at least real enough. A couple of regular guys from Rhode Island, armed with flashlights and an alarming number of gadgets from Radio Shack, calmly walking into allegedly haunted...
Moment of silence for Radio Shack. In the arms of the wreckage, far away from here. Yeah. Versus camcorders. Don't they look like the American curling team? Don't they just look like an American curling team? Just some guys you could grab a beer with in Rhode Island specifically. Oh, Hey, Joan. Hi, everyone. Ghost Adventures watch along? Hell yeah. No, Seg. We're doing science here. Actually, we're doing work. We just watched BuzzKill's why Ghost Adventures fell off, and now we're going to watch why Ghost Hunters fell off by the same creator, and we're going to compare and contrast. And I'm going back to my roots because we're being serious about this. We're scientists. Here we go. We're working on a compare and contrast. We're doing a Venn diagram. There is a test that needs to be done. So after this, so I hope you were taking notes, Seg. You came late to class. So just make sure you get your notes from somebody else. So wait, why do they keep using Ghost Adventures clips? I think they're going to also do a compare and contrast about, this is your brain on Ghost Adventures, this is your brain on Ghost Hunters kind of a deal. Ghost Hunters was the only ghost show I really watched. I think I didn't get it as much because I remember liking it, but I remember not seeing it. I know Ghost Adventurers was on all the time. Plumbers with thermal cameras. Don't plumbers already have thermal cameras? No, I don't know. I'm not a plumber. Look at me. Jason has some arms on him. Yeah, he does. Don't make a laying pipe joke, Joan. Don't make a laying pipe joke. Don't do it. Hi, Seg. There we go. See? Got out of it. We're onto Ghost Hunters, but they keep using Ghost Adventures. I know, it's very confusing. Mrs. Prism says this picture gives off America's Next Top Model vibes. You want to be on top? I'm getting sass here. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry. Seg, please take your seat. I'm so glad to have you in class. You know, we've just been waiting for you to arrive. So I'm so sorry that you felt that I was sassy towards you. I will refrain. Kenny would be proud. I don't know if Kenny uses a Venn diagram often. I've never asked him. Joan is America's Next Top Model. I don't want to be. I don't want to be at all. We were rooting for you. Thank you for finding me funny. Anyway, it's like the Coke versus Pepsi debate. Sure. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that one. Oh, I think that's how they had the thermal cams. They were plumbers. Then other shows had to get them. There. Did you notice loads of us in your live last night saying there were weird shadows near your door and whatever was hanging on it seemed like it was moving? Was it a spider? Or a snake? I don't like that. Not because it's a ghost. I just don't like that in general. Take the goddamn compliment. Okay, thank you. Tyra Banks was definitely possessed. Tyra Banks is still possessed. I saw a message or two, Stu, but I had no idea what you're all talking about. Also, hey guys, if you see movement in my house, text my husband. Don't tell me. I will cry. I've almost cried on camera a couple of times already. It's because I'm a Cancer. But no, I would hate that. I would hate that a lot. So yeah. Watch it back. It's weird. Say, just make sure there's no one living in a closet or something. That's my fear. Anyway, let's watch this show.
Asylum saying, we're here to help. No screaming, no demon theatrics, just blue-collar ghost busting.
Fingers under my ribs. Something.
Oh, yeah. None of you told me if you've ever aggressively minded your own business. I had questions for you guys. No one told me if, like that raccoon, you aggressively minded your own business. And also, please someone explain to me, what is blue-collar ghost hunting versus what is white-collar ghost hunting? What's going on? I like these terms. I don't think I'm using them properly.
Gouge my leg out.
We need you guys' help.
People whose lives were disrupted by the paranormal.
And somehow, it worked. The show debuted on Sci-Fi in 2004 and quickly became one of the network's most watched programs. It turned the Atlantic Paranormal Society, founded in 1990 by Jason Hawes, into a household name. We were hooked. We wanted chills. We wanted evidence. We wanted that grainy whisper in the dark that sounded like it said, get out.
I looked at the person I was with and she said, I'm getting out of here. I don't want them to be stuck.
Instead, what we eventually got was something else entirely. And that's where this story really begins. Before Ghost Hunters was a franchise, a meme format, and background noise for late night TikTok edit, it was basically...
What is that? What is that bald-faced baby doing on my screen? Hold up.
Before Ghost Hunters was a franchise, a meme format, and background...
Who is that? I don't recognize that man. I've aggressively minded my own business. It's usually very agitatedly ignoring someone at work for me. That's fair. We didn't tell you because you were aggressively minding our own business. The minding my own business thing, that's how the Dutch do everything. Just everyday life here. Maybe blue collar versus white collar. I think it might have something to do with plumber's crack. I don't know who that is, but it needs a beard. Hawes didn't age. He just got better with time. I believe so too.
Two guys with tool belts and a hobby. The Atlantic Paranormal Society, TAPS, was founded in 1990 by Jason Hawes, who was, and this is crucial, a plumber, not a priest, not a professor, not a TV psychic with dramatic cheekbones, a plumber. Grant Wilson joined in 1992. Together, they investigated creaky New England houses the way you'd inspect a leaky sink.
But after a decade on the road, I realized that the people who needed me most were my family.
Calm, methodical, slightly skeptical, and ready to blame the pipes. And that detail, that's everything. Because in 2004, America wasn't looking for another theatrical ghost whisperer. It was the post 9/11 era.
When I first looked at that footage, you know what it is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Reality TV was booming. Authenticity was currency. Survivor had proven audiences loved watching real people. YouTube didn't exist yet. TikTok wasn't even a futuristic fever dream. If you wanted paranormal evidence, you either trusted your weird uncle or you watched.
Yeah, how come no one ever makes a paranormal claim that Jason Hawes is traveling back in time with his age? How come no one ever talks about that? Kenny Biddle, what's the deal? Why are you silent? Why are you silent about these claims, huh, Kenny? Prove to me that he's not getting younger. Do it. My dog stepped on a bee. Oh. Because Sage was tending her own beeswax. That's fine.
Cable. Then on October 6, 2004, Ghost Hunters premiered on Sci-Fi. The premise was radical in its simplicity. Walk into allegedly haunted buildings, ask invisible entities.
I guess that might be, that's not what he staged it as, but I guess he might have left the show then because his family needed him. Which, may I remind you, is a similar thing that Nick said. So, guys, I'm going to add that. I can't show it to you because it's just a pain in the booty. Well, we'll say second in command, leaving show for the fam. That's a rhyme, too. Look how good we are at this. Okay. Do.
Light questions and wait. No screaming, no exorcisms, no holy water budget.
I got it here. Brandon is actually a cobweb hanging from him right.
Is it really? Are you serious?
It's like just flashlights, EMF meters from Radio Shack, and two blue-collar guys saying, it's probably wiring. And that restraint, that was the hook.
It's probably wiring. Sometimes I say that after I come out of therapy and my husband's like, how'd it go? And I was like, it's probably wiring, honestly. Also Grant was caught faking. Similar things, misuse of tools. Let's remember that and we'll go to that. This one's actually, I think, shorter than the other one. But that was 4 or 5 years before leaving. Ooh.
They debunked things. They openly admitted when it was plumbing, drafts, or bad insulation, which, coming from a plumber, hits different. It felt grounded. It felt competent.
And they can start investigating the gymnasium, and Daryl and Kristen can head into the auditorium and see if they can get to the bottom of the claims in there.
It felt like customer service for the dead, and audiences ate it up. The show quickly became one of Sci-Fi's most...
That's so interesting. And if I was a better YouTuber, I would go back into the other episode and we would compare the Ghost Adventures one. Because I feel like the Ghost Adventures one was a clear, high starting point to just, a decline. Where there seems to be, sporadic, closer to the middle here of rating. Interesting. Yep, that was in the live special way before Grant left. Oh. Jody, music, good to see you. Way late, my notification bites. It's been a lot of people's notification tonight, Jody. Do not worry about it. It's not just you. I don't know what's happening. I guess YouTube and I are in a fight, and it's probably I didn't call her after the last time I had dinner with her, so I don't know. I gotta talk to her. I'll text her after this. Maybe we'll get on better terms. Now that's a graph. Yeah. You ever look at something, you're like, now that's a graph. That's either a graph or Jason's or a Jackson Pollock. Nice.
Watched programs. TAPS moved from Hawes's backyard operations to an official office in Warwick, Rhode Island. What started as a side hobby turned into primetime mythology. By 2010, they were celebrating their 100th episode at Alcatraz and had become Sci-Fi's longest-running reality series. Let that sink in.
Investigating the reports of 2 kids were told to be quiet.
Oh, go. Bye, Giselle. Okay, Giselle, before you go, I do want to remind you, just like how I do things, because I do them a little bit differently. You will not be able to watch this tomorrow because I am going to take it down and then I'm going to edit it so there's a lot less a lot less awkwardness, and then I put it back up the following Tuesday so you can watch that video. So please feel free to watch that video. I just don't want you to be surprised if you don't see this. Before you go, Giselle, make sure you paid rent. And by paying rent, I mean like the stream. And if you haven't liked the stream or AKA paid your rent, you should pay your rent now while we're doing this. Because Mama doesn't work for free up here, guys. Mama works for likes and attention. So let's go.
By a man from the bleachers.
A show about standing in the dark asking empty rooms questions became a network cornerstone. But here's the subtle genius of early ghost hunters. It wasn't selling ghosts. It was selling competence. It wasn't believe us. It was let's check. Before paranormal television became thermal camera hysteria and drywall exorcisms.
I think what we need to do is we can get up on that balcony from over here.
Okay. It was just two working class guys calmly investigating bumps in the night like they were warranty claims. And for a while, that felt revolutionary. But television has gravity. The more cameras show up, the heavier expectations get. And when your format is built on maybe, eventually the pressure to deliver something definitive starts knocking. At first, it was just static on an EMF meter.
I will say so far, I think BuzzKill has given a lot more flowers to ghost hunters than he did ghost adventurers. Like, we're maybe a third through this, and we're just getting to the part where it's like, and maybe they did some things that weren't so great. But I feel it's been very complimentary so far. Please tell me if you think I'm wrong with that, but I do feel it's been very complimentary.
Later, it would be something louder.
High school, 1:52 a.m.
Oh, well, is the lights went off?
The light just flickered. What?
And once that shift...
Sorry, hold on. I tried that with my live streams, but it takes 2 hours for 10 minutes of editing because I keep laughing about my own stupid noises and voice. That's fun. At least you're having fun editing. I'm just sitting there going, I made a mouth sound here. I hate my mouth sounds. I hate my breathing. I hate my ums. I say like too much. So I'm glad you're having fun with it. I hate watching and hearing myself. Honestly, I do too. But like, I'm also desensitized to it because I do my own editing. So I hear myself talk a lot.
Began, there was no going back. For a while, ghost hunters felt untouchable. It had the formula, the vibe, that they were just regular guys with flashlights charm. They weren't screaming like every other paranormal show that would later flood cable. They weren't throwing holy water at drywall. They were calm, measured, skeptical, allegedly. But every empire built on flickering lights eventually has a power outage. The first crack wasn't dramatic.
And Rochelle, we're here in the gym. We're here just to talk to you, man. Just want to hear your story.
It wasn't a ghost pushing someone down a staircase. It was subtle. The vibe started to shift. Around 2008, during a live Halloween special, something happened that would live rent-free in skeptical forums forever. Grant Wilson appeared to have his jacket pulled 3 separate times by what the show implied was a spirit. Critics immediately pointed out that it looked suspiciously like someone tugging a string. Now, to be fair, Hawes and Wilson denied any fakery, noting that their contracts prohibited staging evidence. But here's the problem. When you're investigating invisible entities using gadgets that beep near microwaves.
Oh. What was that? Lights went off. Lights went off.
Look at this.
You don't get the luxury of trust me, bro. Once doubt enters the room, it doesn't leave. Skeptics like Benjamin Radford openly criticized the methods as unscientific. Organizations literally handed out truly terrible television awards for promoting pseudoscience. Independent groups were formed just to reconstruct and debunk scenes from the show. Think about that. People dedicated time out of their lives to recreate flashlight malfunctions.
What's wrong with that? Is there something wrong with recreating things to then check their validity? I don't know anybody who does that. Guys, do you know anybody who does that? This is the second time I think we've gotten called out again. That's what I mean. I don't think this video is for us. I think this is like for a broader audience. I don't think this is for us. Oh, man. YouTube just kicked me out, for fuck's sake. YouTube is a friend of me. Oh no, I'm so sorry, Jody. I'll talk to her. Just, she's just going through something, okay? I've gotten used to it, but it just doesn't help that I turn into Schwarzenegger when I'm stressing. Can't hear myself saying if I ever need to record that. I need someone to do that for me. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. I don't know if I've really heard myself sing too much. So it's like interesting when you're like editing your voice, because your voice is always going to sound deeper to you because it's like vibrating differently. So I don't think I've ever heard myself sing recorded. I've only ever, though, like, I have been recorded singing, but not like seriously, but not to a point I would hear it. I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, exactly how I feel. Pondering.
That's when you know something shifted. But the deeper crack wasn't just about potential fakery.
Back? And let us know that you're here?
It was about escalation. When a format relies on maybe something happened, you eventually have to answer the unspoken question. Okay, but did something actually happen? The early seasons thrived on ambiguity. A whisper, a shadow, a door creak. But as seasons stacked up, 11 straight on Sci-Fi by 2016, the pressure to deliver grew. We want evidence. We want proof. We want the ghost to at least knock once for yes. And when you don't have that, you lean harder into drama. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the chemistry that made the show work started dissolving. Grant Wilson left in 2012. That was the duo, the Mulder and Scully of plumbing-based paranormal investigation. When Wilson stepped away, Hawes continued, but the dynamic shifted. Then in 2014, key team members like Amy Bruni, Steve Gonsalves, and Dave Tango left. Suddenly, the core was gone. It's like replacing half of the Beatles and insisting it's still the Beatles. By 2016, after 11 seasons, the original run ended.
Violently attacked and had the handprint of a child on her leg, and also got punched in the face.
Stop baiting me with Zach. I don't appreciate it. I'm just like, I don't know that guy. What's happening? Sing something, record it, cry. I don't want to do that. I don't want to cry. I do that all the time. My voice always sounds like a bull farting through a megaphone a field over. Interesting. Do you hear that often, that you can compare it? Mr. Prism, when I sing, other people cry because it's so beautiful, Jody? Is that why? That's a weapon of love. I find it worse listening to a recording of someone you know singing, even if it's good, you die of cringe. It depends. Because I have, like, friends who've gone to, or going to college for singing, and I've heard them. And both my brother-in-law and my brother are sound engineers. And my brother-in-law plays guitar, and he, like, sings sometimes on his Instagram. And I'm not embarrassed for him. So, I don't know. I think it depends. I think it depends on how you, like, grow. I will say, I love a good men singing voice. I do love it. My husband has a great voice. If my husband sat down and intensely looked at me and was like, I'm playing guitar for you and I'm going to serenade you. No. That's like too much attention and too much focus. I know it looks so cute in the movies, but if you've ever, and I've had a guy do it before where they're like, this one's for you. And they start playing like guitar at you and singing like for you. It is so intense. And you're like, what do I do with my hands? Where do I look? Where am I supposed to be looking? You want me to do this like doughy-eyed, like, oh, smile? And I'm not going to do it because I'm screaming internally. Stupid sexy Z-back. He's not my type. Men yelling, not my type. Don't yell. I don't like it. Yeah, beautiful. We'll go with that. Cool. I'm glad we all agree. If I sing, people will tell to shut up and stop. Aw, Boneyard. You should sing right now. I bet I won't tell you to stop. You should sing right now. When I sing, the neighbors call, report a sick cow. Guys, what is happening? Ponyo, that means we should sing louder despite them. Sage. I mean, nothing compares to Seg. Seg does not have a bad voice. Also, Seg can't make direct eye contact with me. His name is Side Eye Guy. But also, I would not like it if any man did that, husband or not husband. I don't like it. I don't like it. No. No, Seg was singing like some traditional Australian tune one time that he like was like kind of making it up. And Seg has a nice voice. Sometimes, if you're still here, Seg, I'm so sorry to be speaking about you this way. Sometimes I feel Seg picks an octave that the song doesn't need to be in, and he tries to use his head voice without necessarily the breathing strength that he would need in order to get that head voice sound. So like your head voice is like when you go really, really high. Seg has a nice falsetto voice. Yes, that's what I'm saying. But I think if Seg had more breath support, it would be great because he was singing in a register that was really good for him with that Australian song. And it was very nice, very pleasant. So once again, sorry, Seg, if you're still here. I'm talking shit about you. Wasn't really talking shit. Just giving helpful advice. You tried Otex. No, I don't know what that is. Sounds like a rebel record label. Maybe I'll be next Disturbed's lead singer. That would be so cool. So, that's Seg didn't ask for that advice, so I'm so sorry if he didn't really want it. But yeah, sing, I would say above average for like singing. My husband's actually like really good. I'm not as good with technique, like and like explaining technique like my husband is. He's so good, and like he's just like, you need to raise your soft palate, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean, honey? And like I do know where my soft palate is versus my hard palate and things like that, but I don't know how to move them. I don't know what that means. So yeah, yes, I do agree with you there. Most songs he can sing well, even opera tones. Yeah, no, he has a good voice. It's a lot of people don't have the right breath support, and I'm not saying I have the right breath support either. But you can usually tell when like a note is like kind of wavering or quivering and you're not trying to do that on purpose. So like that's when you can tell, or like when it goes like, ah, like it feels airy, too airy. That's usually when you don't have enough like breath support. And like in fairness, like if we're really talking technique, like he is sitting down. He is not standing up, shoulders back, diaphragm open. If you're a woman, actually if you're a guy too, we say like nipples east and west when like you want to sing well, soft knees if you're standing, meaning like you're not locked, you're not tense, because like that. I would say like with a belting song, so like during karaoke, if I sing like Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone, it feels like an ab workout from like how tight it has to be while singing. And yeah. When I was in college and doing some theater stuff, they used to tell us to practice singing while on the treadmill to like work on breath support and stuff like that. I don't consider rap songs as singers. I don't care what Snoop Dogg says. It's not singing, it's rapping. Like that's different. In the same way that like the things that I'm giving advice about, I wouldn't necessarily say would be good for rap. I went down the rabbit hole of watching vocal coaches and learned about technical stuff. Fascinating. I did vocal lessons twice in my life, and then I watched my husband get some vocal lessons. So that's why I know some of these things. As I said, I'm only an above average singer. I don't think that like I'm anything to write home about. My husband is really good, but he's not practiced anymore, and it is a practiced thing. What about the nipples? You want so that your chest is out and open. You want to think of them going in opposite directions while you're singing. And I don't mean north and south. I mean east and west. It opens up your chest. Good thing I'm not monetized yet. Anyway, let's get back to this.
And honestly, it felt natural. The cultural moment had passed. Paranormal TV was oversaturated. Every channel had its own squad of night vision enthusiasts yelling, "Did you hear that?" into damp basements. But then the revival era began because nothing in television truly dies. It just gets rebooted. In 2019, Ghost Hunters returned on A&E. Nostalgia marketing was in full swing. Millennials who once watched the show while texting on slide phones were now adults with streaming subscriptions. The revival promised the return of Hawes and Wilson together again. The gang's back, except it wasn't the same. A&E canceled the revival after season 13 in 2020. Then it came back again on Discovery Plus in 2021. Then new seasons aired on Travel Channel in 2022 and 2023. By 2023, the franchise quietly stopped after season 16.
Or a mysterious voice repeats what I'm saying, and then moments later, another faint voice comes through and says, "Demon."
At some point, it stopped feeling like a show and started feeling like a ghost itself, haunting different...
Wait, why does he keep playing Ghost Adventures? I'm very confused. What is happening? I thought that was on purpose, but now I'm not sure. What is going on?
Networks, appearing briefly, disappearing again. And then came the Conjuring House situation. In 2023, controversy erupted around a haunted...
Oh. We're talking about this. Okay. Let's see how far this goes. This was only put out 2 weeks ago, so let's see how in-depth this goes. I didn't think this would come up, especially because this isn't Ghost Hunters necessarily. This is more... Also, once again, that's Zach and Aaron. What is happening? What is going on? Unless they're talking about a different controversy.
Rhode Island property connected to investigations involving Hawes and members of his circle. The owner publicly accused Hawes of being involved in a bizarre conspiracy against her, sent threat...
So why did you put pictures of Ghost Adventures up and not Ghost Hunters? And once again, as I was going to say, this is not Ghost Hunters. Like, this is Jason Hawes. Like, that's separate at this point. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure they were separate at this point. What is going on?
Messages and posted footage misidentifying him. Hawes filed reports for stalking and defamation. Now, the details were messy. Allegations, lawsuits, counterclaims, but the optics? Terrible. Ghost hunters fighting over a haunted house in real life feels like a parody sketch. Instead of investigating paranormal drama, they became it.
I don't know about that. Methinks he used AI to collate clips, and it's got confused between Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures. I like that conspiracy. Do we think this is an AI channel? Does the voice sound AI? Because it's weird to me that you would get these groups confused after you've already done an episode about Ghost Adventurers. And it would make, if this is AI, it would kind of make sense because the script is a little funky. Like, it feels like it makes the same metaphors over and over, just using different words. What do we think? Do we think this is AI? Hold on one sec. I want to see how often they make videos. Because it could be a content farm. They have 26,000 subs. They may be a content farm, so hold up. Let's put this here. Let's see really quickly. Yeah, because there's like 1 day ago, 4 days ago, 7 days ago, 10 days ago. So every 3 days, making 15 to 16 minute long videos. We may have been duped. Oh, this is all fake. This is done. Disney is dead now, guys. Did anyone else get invited to the funeral 5 months ago? Okay, I don't know about that. We're going to keep watching this video, but I am very suspicious now that we might have been duped. The quality of microphone makes me think that it's a real person reading it, but I don't know about that.
Either copied or mocked. And that's the peak of the collapse. Not a single explosive scandal, but a slow erosion. The magic faded, the team fractured, the format stretched thin, the mystery became predictable. When every episode ends with "we can't definitively say," eventually the audience says it for you. We can't definitively say this works anymore. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Ghost hunters didn't collapse in a fiery demon.
That's Ghost Adventurers!
It faded. And fading is worse because today the show isn't scandalous.
What's your name?
It's back here.
It isn't shocking. It isn't even particularly offensive. It's just predictable. The revival era bounced from network to network. A&E in 2019, Discovery Plus in 2021, on Travel Channel through 2023.
NJ Shadow Figures. I live in NJ. Where were you guys? What's going on? Let me see. Update technology. Okay. That doesn't tell me where you were.
Like a spirit that couldn't find peace. Each comeback was marketed as a triumphant return. Each one quietly lost momentum. By the time the franchise stopped after season 16 in 2023, it didn't feel like a cancellation. It felt like a shrug. And the problem isn't just cast changes or network shifts. It's structural. Paranormal TV has a ceiling. There are only so many times you can stare at a dark hallway and whisper, "If there's anyone here, give us a sign," before the audience realizes the sign is always a faint thud followed by 10 minutes of speculation. The formula became mechanical. Arrive, interview, set up gadgets, EMF spike.
That's not the right show.
Collect ambiguous EVP. Conclude nothing. Repeat. What once felt grounded and sincere started to feel polished and packaged. The early charm, two plumbers calmly debunking things, gave way to slick production and dramatic music stings. The restraint that made it believable slowly morphed into television pacing. And the skepticism never went away. Critics continued pointing out that the tools used, EMF meters, REM pods, temperature guns, have no proven ability to detect spirits. Awards mocking the show for promoting pseudoscience didn't
REM pods. I know he means REM pods, and I can't tell if that is him not knowing what it is or him not being like, or being AI. I don't think it's him being AI, but I don't know. Let's see. Disney's making Star Wars movies. There's hope. There's hope. Well, there's always hope. Not dupe, Joan. Just did an expose. Apparently. So badly researched. Jason didn't come back for the mid-season. He also, the show only ended because Jason didn't want to make changes to the network asked for. Plus, using way too much Ghost Adventures clip on a Ghost Hunters video. Right? And I can't tell if he's trying to make the connection of like, well, yeah, they like Ghost Hunters is boring because like nothing happened. Where like in his criticism of Ghost Hunters was boring because like nothing happened, but his criticism of Ghost Adventurers was like too many things were happening, and if there was like, ooh, nothing could happen. It sounds like his feelings about reality television come down to if it runs too long, people get bored of it, which is a fine thing to say, but you can say it in fewer words. Also, that's not necessarily what you're saying. But yeah, I think the script is AI. I think the script is AI too, and I think possibly I think you're right about the collection of artifacts is also AI.
Exactly boost credibility. Meanwhile, the internet moved on. TikTok's hashtag
the voice is AI too. You think so, Matthew Hopkins? Because Matthew Hopkins was a prick, I should say. We're not going to call you Matthew Hopkins because that's not your name. Do you think so? Because I'm listening in headphones and it feels like the quality of microphone is not AI. Because like I can hear when the mic turns on and off. And that's the only reason I'm not sure if it's AI or not. There's like almost a like white noise background to it. I could also just have really shitty headphones. So I'm wondering if that's the case. He hasn't said any words real weird except for the REM he just did right now instead of saying a REM pod. But I could also chuck that up to he has no clue. Because like it is confusing when you're reading the words and you don't know what they're talking about because it's an EMF reader. But then a REM pod, not an REM pod. At least that's like how I would call it. But it's not actually saying Ghost Adventures is better. Here's some clips. Yeah, that's the thing. The artifacts are suggesting that they're making a comparison. The words are not. So I don't know what's happening. There are clips to 4 different TV shows in there. I know, it's the same episodes of Jason Hawes with no hair, no facial hair. Also, the ratings for Ghost Hunters was fairly steady. That's not people stop showing up. Very true. Also, as I said, I don't think Ghost Hunters, not Ghost Adventurers. I am dyslexic. I don't think Ghost Hunters was part of the Conjuring thing. I think that was just Jason Hawes. Unless I'm getting the timeline wrong, I think it's just Jason Hawes, which, like, is not the reason the show failed then. Failed.
Spirit Talk community exploded with thousands of amateur ghost clips. Suddenly, everyone had night vision. Everyone had a haunted Airbnb story. The exclusivity was gone. Why?
Okay, Airbnb was... Oh my God. I just realized probably what's happening if it's AI. They think Aaron is Jason because of the bald head and the facial hair. They think Aaron is Jason. I watched a bit where the AI was reading. That's kind of like when they do, like, for the people who have, like, a hard time seeing, when they do, like, they do a descriptive of the visuals. It's just Jason. I think Taps did go there once. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't go there. I'm just saying that's not what the controversy was.
Watch a cable show investigate a haunted jail when your algorithm...
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think they think Aaron is Jason, and I think that's why it's getting confused.
Serves you 5 allegedly possessed dolls before breakfast. And maybe that's the real issue. Ghost Hunters used to feel like access. Now it feels like legacy media trying to compete with a teenager in their basement saying, guys, you won't believe this.
Aaron and Billy are sensing that they're not alone in the nursing home.
The mystery isn't mysterious anymore. It's content. And once the paranormal becomes content, the ghosts don't disappear. They just lose their edge. Here's the thing. Ghost Hunters almost pulled off something impossible. It took a niche hobby, 2 plumbers from Rhode Island investigating creaky basements, and turned it into a cultural moment. It ran for 11 straight seasons on Sci-Fi.
Are they the same guy? Only if you're AI, Mr. Prism. Only if you're an AI.
Spawned spin-offs. It survived revivals across 3 different networks. It created an entire aesthetic. Green night vision.
That doesn't bode well for fans. Yeah, no, I think we got content farmed. I think we fell into a trap. I don't think this guy knows what he's talking about. I'm kicking under the desk, just so you know.
Hushed whispers, EMF meters glowing like they're about to text you bad news. For a while, it felt earnest. That was the fantasy. Not that ghosts were real, but that maybe, just maybe, someone out there was calmly, professionally trying to figure it out. No screaming, no demon theatrics, just we're here to help. And that's why the decline feels bittersweet instead of catastrophic. There wasn't one massive scandal that blew the doors off. There was just time.
I just heard footsteps upstairs.
That's great, Aaron.
Cast departures, network hopping, internet cynicism, meme culture, the slow realization that if you investigate enough abandoned buildings, eventually the scariest thing you'll find is poor ventilation. The show didn't die because people stopped believing in ghosts. It faded because we stopped believing.
That's a different one than you showed us. That's a different thing. That's a different chart. What's going on? And also they don't show the titles. Oh my God, I'm stupid. They never showed the titles of the charts, guys. We don't know what we're looking at. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this and we're gonna talk about it. And then we're gonna forget that it ever happened until I repost this next Tuesday.
In the format. And maybe that says,
oh no, and now my thumbnail's even more true with me going fake. Guys.
more about us than it does about them. We want mystery, but only if it trends. We want evidence, but only if it goes viral. We want authenticity, but shot in 4K. So here's the real question. If a ghost knocks in an abandoned prison at 3:17 a.m. and no one clips it for TikTok, does it even matter? Like, subscribe and tell me which haunted location should file for retirement
wouldn't you?
next.
Okay. Stop sharing. That was the end of that. Links for both of those episodes that we just watched in the description. I will still be linking this when I put it back up next Tuesday. because we did watch it. We do have to give credit. I'm not going to tell people to not go watch it, but I am going to say I have my suspicions that that is a content farm? Where am I from? A content farm, and I think that it's AI. I think it's AI. God damn AI slop. I agree. I think Cody and Satori did more hurt to the show than anything. Probably. Wow, he even butchered the joke at the end. Yeah. Yeah, he did. And Matthew Hopkins was a prick. You might be right with it being an AI voice, because there was no emotion behind that joke. So, universal bald bearded dude, new conspiracy theory is born. Yeah. It's that conspiracy of have you seen this man, but it's just Jason Hawes and Aaron Goodwin next to each other. I want to find the video and go, are you aware you have a load of Ghost Adventures and not Ghost Hunters videos? I mean, it's linked in the description, and it's going to be linked again, because I always link. I like to give credit, because if people didn't make content, I couldn't react to it. So, you got to give credit where credit's due. Actually, let's see. Let's see here. We can look at some of the comments. Just to see. Yeah, brother, you merged Ghost Adventures with Ghost Hunters. Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters are different shows, which, also he already did something about them. Slow down on upload and focus on quality for a sec. You mix two different shows. What's with all the Zach Baggin footage? BuzzKill confused Ghost Hunters with Ghost Adventurers. Subliminal. But how could he? He did a thing about it. Next up, why Ghost Adventures fell off, featuring Jason Hawes. Why do you keep showing Zach and his crew? They're two completely different shows. Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, same thing. Who's going to notice? The editor of the video. Why are you confusing Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventurers? This is really unclear, and a lot of people, and a lot of what you say doesn't apply to Ghost Hunters. That's really okay. So yeah, no, other people are noticing it. So we can take solace in that. Yeah, no, Kristen, you're not the only person. I've had at least 3 other people have been like, I didn't get a notification for this tonight. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I think we're in a fight. As I said, I'm going to call her after this stream and see if she's okay. And, maybe I'll give her flowers or something, and maybe we'll make up for it. Okay, so people did point it out already. It's a lot. Yeah, and scrolling through, let me go to the oldest. Sort by newest. Let's go some of the oldest comments and see. Okay, the ones hearted by the creator are ones that are please do a video of Paranormal State. Dead Files next, please and thank you. The creator's only hearting ones that are hey, can you do this instead? Am I the only one that got a notification? Probably. I got a notification, but it's my channel. I don't want to disappoint the Joan. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I'm not disappointed. Not in you, at least. Maybe a little bit in YouTube, but not in you. I'm disappointed in myself for getting duped. Mind you, sometimes I will pre-watch the videos just to make sure, it's okay. I did that with one video I was thinking about watching about a creepy video game, and I'm so glad I did, because it would have been very inappropriate to watch on a stream. But I like to, for the most part, live react. And I didn't pre-watch this one because Florio did suggest the Ghost Adventures one. And then they just put this one up for Ghost Hunters. And so I was like, oh, I'll just live react to both of them. And you know what? Actually, I'm disappointed, but at the same time, I think it's a good thing we did, because now we know that this is probably not the best information. And that's what we got to do, guys. We gotta use our noggins when we look at information and look at resources. Hi, Cag. Thank you for just popping in to say hi. Glad to see you. The Ghost Nation doesn't count on main hunters, even though it's still Jason. Yeah, also, my YouTube is not loading comments anymore. I think YouTube is just she's having a day. Oh, no, this is just it with comments. Yeah, no replies from the creator when they're like, hey, you used the wrong footage. I don't know. I think it's a content farm. I think we watch the content farm. Sorry, kids. So that being said, I'm not going to pull out the Venn diagram because it's kind of pointless. But Yeah, let me know how you all feel. I know we're also all upset because YouTube notifications didn't go out. I will say that makes me a little, I'm not gonna lie, makes me a little flattered that you all are upset that you missed some of the stream. I appreciate that you did want to see me. It was a little sad coming in and no one was in at first. Thank you, Pomp, if you're still here, for coming in originally. I do appreciate it that you're all like, well, I wanted to watch. That makes me feel good. So, yeah. Anyone? You got... Let's see. It's 11:15 where I'm at right now. Let's give it 15 more minutes. So, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Things I can help? I cannot help YouTube, unfortunately. I've tried. She won't listen to me. We're getting couples counseling. That's not true. We're not doing that. YouTube is like, sigh, it's Tuesday. I don't want to work. Me too, girl. But like, we live in a capitalist hellhole. We all gotta work. Are there more comments like that under the other videos? I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, stop talking. Stop talking to me. At least with the Zach Baggins one, the first comment is not going to mention Aaron's wife hiring a hitman. Which, honestly, if you're going to mention the Conjuring drama, you should mention Aaron's wife. What the hell? That's a good point. I did, even if it's AI slap, I did enjoy the a raccoon aggressively minding its own business. I don't know how it does that, but I like that notion. Tornado north of me, tornado south of me. Oh no, Dust. Please let me know if you're okay in the morning. I'm really concerned. It's making me worried. I saw you on my YouTube feed and got right in. I saw a notification after that. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Dust is going to end up in the Emerald City. I hope not. I really, really hope not. Yeah, YouTube, we want to pay our rent. Oh, yeah, everyone, don't forget to pay rent. That means liking this stream. Okay, I'm not going to put that on screen. Dust needs to keep your tornadoes. Don't bring them near me. Yeah. What's your take on the two shows, Joan? On Ghost Adventurers versus Ghost Hunters? Stage right, you weren't here on the beginning. I explained a little bit about my history with Ghost Adventurers, how I've watched it. I watched it a lot in high school as like ritualistically because it was on every Friday. And my friend and I who are watching it, we always kind of saw Zach as like, for lack of a better term, well, not even lack of a better term, just straight up, we used to call him a douchebag. We used to call him like douchebag ghost hunter. So like we always knew that like we didn't like him. And I grew up and I had satellite, but we didn't get all the channels, obviously, to pay for packages. And I know like it was saying that Ghost Hunters was on Sci-Fi. And I don't know if I just didn't get the right Sci-Fi or like we didn't get Sci-Fi all the time, because I remember liking Ghost Hunters better, but not seeing it as often. So yeah, I like Ghost Hunters better. I didn't get to see it as often. I would say around college, I kind of fell off from watching ghost hunting shows, and I've never like gotten back on it. I try to be supportive in this community, and I really do try to be supportive in this community, and I try to watch, but like it's just not my jam half the time. And it's not because I don't like respect the work that people are doing or trying. I just really like the narrative and I like the ghost story, and I'd rather hear the story than try to see if I could catch a voice or evidence of the paranormal, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my take on the both shows, is like I understand why they're there, value them, but yeah. Funny mind, you and I had tornado dream last night too. Just be careful. I agree. I hope the baby owl's okay. That's right. So Dust sent us this thing where he found a baby owl in his front yard, and he was like going to go look at it, and the mama swooped down, and apparently baby owlets, like when they're learning, like leaving the nest, they like hop for a few days before they really fly, and their mommies watch them from like beyond, and like if you try to like mess with them, they're like, hey, don't mess with my kid. And Dust was so worried about it. And I was like, look, they're nocturnal animals. If he's still there in the morning, like you should call us. Not we. I'm not there. You should call someone. And then the owl did move, and now Dust can't find the baby owl, and we all hope the baby owl is okay. So, I mean, I first and foremost hope Dust is okay. And then my second concern is actually Boneyard. And then my third concern is that baby owl. So, everyone, best wishes for Dust, Boneyard, and baby owl. Which character do you want to be when you find Dust wandering around in ruby slippers? Yeah, it does. Which character do you want to be? Oh no, not the baby owl. I know. Let me know what it's like in Munchkin Land, Dust. I don't know if Dust would fit in there. I think Dust's kind of tall, isn't he? I don't mean to call you out, Dust. And when I say kind of tall, I'm 5'3". Everyone above that is tall to me. He's with you, so I'm sure he's safe, man. I originally thought Ghost Adventurers as the drunk frat boy paranormal investigators. Fair. They are loud. They're, as I mentioned before, Ghost Adventurers reacts and acts like a certain type of masculinity that I'm not into, which is like very loud, very quick to anger or to intimidate or to just try to cause violence. And like I know it's like a ghost, so I don't think it can cause violence. But like the way that they react makes it seem like they want violence, and I don't want violence, so I don't like it. The history of sites are fascinating. I agree. I love it so much, and I also I love finding out why it might not necessarily be true. I think obviously that's like the whole channel, but like I just love learning like ghost tropes and like why we as humans have that as such a fear and why stories like that are seen throughout different places. I find it also interesting. So mama owls are like magpies, I guess. Yeah, they'll swoop and get ya. Sage, I agree. I mostly still watch of most of these shows for the location and beautiful history. Yeah, I get cautious about the history. Please make sure you pay rent before you leave here. Paying rent means liking the stream